Yeah, yeah. Coming up on Mental Health Marty, it is still September, Suicide Awareness Month, and we want to talk about Black suicide, especially for men. Stay tuned. What's up, everybody? It's me. It's your boy. It's your host, Martina Sellers, coming to you live and always in living color in Southern California, where the sun is always shining. And it is so good to see you on this Tuesday. It is September 19th. Can you believe it? Where is the time going? Time is flying. Can you believe we're about to start the fourth quarter of 2023? Wow. What's going on, everyone? Let us know that you're out there listening and that you are doing well. Listen, hope everyone is doing well. It is a beautiful, beautiful fall days out here in Southern California. Mid 80s. We're enjoying this sunshine and this great, great, great weather. But hope you are doing fine. Listen, it's been a crazy busy week, but we are grateful for another day. Tell us what you're grateful for today in the comments. If you are grateful for just waking up, tell us those things that you're grateful for, and we would love to hear that from you. Listen, we've been busy this week. For those of you going to be in the LA, Los Angeles area, we are doing our 30-year recording with Brent Jones and the TP Mob. Listen, we're going to be in San Pedro. You can go to Eventbrite, check out Brent Jones for your tickets. Listen, it is going to be fire on Saturday in San Pedro at 6 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. Yes, it is. And we are going to have a ball. Listen, we've been rehearsing, and this new music that is coming out from my boy Brent Jones is absolutely ridiculous. But glad to see everyone is doing well. And listen, let us know that you're listening and where you're listening from and something that you're grateful for. But if this is your first time tuning into the Mental Health Marty Show, I hope it is not. But just in case it is, let us remind you what our purpose is for the Mental Health Marty Show. Listen, this show is intended for psychoeducational purposes and to bring you aware of the psychodynamics and psycho elements that is happening within our communities. We are not meant to be a substitute for you seeing your therapist, your psychiatrist, your psychologist, your pastor, your preach, your boy, your mental health coach, your accountability partner, or anyone else. But we are simply meant to be a supplement to add on to what you're already doing, because our self-care and our mental health is so important. So we don't want you to continue to secretly suffer in silence in the shadow of shame, but we want you to speak up, speak out, and live. However, if you're experiencing any type of psychiatric emergency, we want you to dial 988, which is the mental health helpline. You can call that from anywhere in the nation and get help, or go to your nearest urgent care for further assistance. Yes, that's what we do here. And we want you to know it's okay if you're not okay, because every day I don't feel well. Even though my body might wake up, I got to get this mind together and start transforming it. And that's what we're here about, to help out you with the transition of your mind so we can stop the stinking thinking. Now, how do you engage with us on this show? I am so glad you asked. Daryl, thank you so much. The Mac in the back. Give it up for the Mac in the back. Woo! Yes. But how do you engage with us? Go over to the YouTube channel, Mental Health Marty, and there you will see us. We want you to subscribe. Yes. And hit that like, that thumbs up. And when you hear that button, that bell that lets you know that you are here with us. What's going on, Jeff, my brother? So good to see you, man, virtually. Listen, I'm going to be heading back out to that DMV area really, really soon. At latest, second Sunday in November, but I'm pushing for that second weekend in October, going back out there with the Reverend Dr. Marguerite Story and the Ebenezer Church, the E Factor out there. But Jeff, good to see you, my brother. Listen, I am so excited about this topic tonight. September is known as Suicide Prevention and Suicide Awareness Month because too many people secretly suffer because of suicide ideation, and all those things that go along with it. But what we are not talking about, which is still a hush-hush in our community, in the African-American community, in the Black community, in our Latino community, is talking about suicide and how the rates have increased for our Black and brown men. Why? Because we don't have safe spaces in which we can have real conversations about suicide ideation, and the pain of it all. Again, I've shared with you on several occasions that I have lost a young man to suicide because he just wasn't mentally there, and he felt that the only way he could end the pain was by taking his own life. But we have to realize that suicide is a permanent solution for a temporary problem. Let me say that again. Suicide is a permanent solution to a temporary problem. However, when we don't have these safe spaces, when we don't have accountability partners, we don't have brothers and sisters and homies that we can call on saying, hey, listen, I'm not doing well. I need your help. That's what pushes the suicide rate higher, because we believe, especially for men, we believe we can handle everything on our own. And that is not the case. But I'm so glad that I don't have to handle this show on my own. I got my brother from another mother. Listen, I'm so proud of this man here. I got to see him in person, just to hang out with him when I was in the DMV area. Got to see his new amazing spot that is SoBomb.com. Listen, I ain't hating, but I'm hating, because that place was so sweet. I'm so proud of him and so glad to call him not only a colleague, but my brother for real. None other than from the DMV area himself, Thomas Davis.
Greetings, Martinez Sellers. How are you, sir?
What's up, Thomas?
Man, I can't
What's
call
going
it,
on,
brother.
man?
How are you doing, man? Can't call it, man.
Yeah,
I'm living.
You can't call it. Yes, you can.
I'm living.
Yes, you can. What you gonna call? Who you gonna call?
Hey, Ghostbusters.
Hey, what's going?
No.
Yes.
Tonight I'm gonna call 988 if I need it.
That's right. See, there we go. Man, it's always good seeing you. And let me tell you this. Thank you for showing me and Dr. Dante a wonderful time and my cousin when we're out there in the DMV area, man. And I am, yes, Sister Tanya Hill, so good to see you. Definitely. Hope all is well. Thank you for always joining in and being a faithful follower of the Mental Health Marty show. But Thomas, can I say this, man? I am, from brother to brother, so proud of you. And oftentimes we don't take the time to say, brother, I'm proud of you. Brother, you doing the thing. Brother, keep pressing, keep pushing, keep doing what you're doing. And man, the office is so professional. It is so calming and inviting. I love the industrial feel that it has and the color scheme, and it just made you feel inviting and warm and just happy and all that, man. But listen, for those who don't know, tell them about your new spot. Man, yes, I need an office over there. I'm just letting you know. And I don't need to, I'm coming for free. I'm just letting you know.
What?
Yeah. Free 30, baby. Free 30.
Thank
but
you
tell
again,
them, real talk,
Marty.
tell them about your spot.
Yes, thank you so much for all that you do. As I say, a lot of times I am who partially that I am because of this man here. Marty pushed me and challenged me to step outside of my comfort zone and try something new. I'm a proud owner of Limitless Possibilities, where we
Yes.
believe that our possibilities are limitless. I am
Limitless.
also humbled to say that we have our own suite now. We are located on U Street. So if anyone is watching from the DMV area, check us out at 1436 U Street Northwest, Suite 401. And we are welcoming everybody from all walks of life, lottie dottie, everybody.
Lottie
We
Dottie
are
and everybody, huh?
we are just a sweet man. We are an organization that just believes in empowering people. And my
Yes.
specialty are my brothers, empowering our
Yes.
brothers to step outside
Yes.
of the norm and try something new. So
Yes.
thank you, Marty. Marty was an amazing. I mean, I had an amazing time to fellowship with him and his staff. They
Yeah.
visited from all the way from the LA area, and it was an honor just to have some time to just talk to you outside the camera. So thank you for the invitation.
That's right. That's right. Man, I again, you right in the heart of the city. And that's what I love. I'm not gonna lie. I was I don't want to say jealous or anything, but in a and proud in a great way.
Yeah,
Because you're right. You're doing the work. You said I'm going to do work for my community, and you stuck
right,
to being in your community right there on U
right.
Street. Listen, there's some dope restaurants, some dope eat out spots, all that. Get your little, happy hour and the food joints down there. Hey, everybody like a good happy hour. Listen, you ain't got a drink. You can have a lemonade. I didn't say that to be a
I ain't
hard
said a
cider
word.
lemonade.
I am
You could
just
be
smiling.
you're
I'm
just
just
like
smiling.
good eats. Nothing like no real talk.
Right,
Nothing like being in the heart where the people you like serving, and being
right,
there, and then giving them professionalism. Because I think a lot of times we believe just because we service our community that we can't be professional, that it can't be upscale, that it can't be dope, it can't be clean, it can't be all these things. And I love that you are defying the myths about all of that. It's dope, it's
right.
clean, it is so fresh. Dude, I love the exposed brick and then the garage door that separates the conference room. Yes, yeah. Dude, listen, if I can bring all that out here, listen. I don't care. I'm bragging about you, brother. Brother, I'm bragging
We have
because we don't take time to celebrate each other. And there is enough money and opportunity out there that we don't have to hate. So I'm saying this to all my brothers and sisters out there. Stop hating on one another and stop pulling each other down. Let's lift each
mm,
other up. And listen, you are doing it. You are doing it. You are doing it. And you're doing it well, my brother. So, yes.
we are doing it. We are doing it. We are doing it well.
Yes, we are. Yes, we are. I appreciate that. I do. I do. I do. So you said, and I agree with you, that too often we don't have services that look like us, or enough services
Mm-hmm.
that look like us, who understand
Mm-hmm.
us, who know
Mm-hmm.
how to properly diagnose us. Because one of
Right.
my problems and challenges is this: oftentimes young black boys and black men are often misdiagnosed and over medicated. Let me say that again. They're misdiagnosed, meaning we give them wrong diagnosis because the same symptomologies we see in our white
Mm-hmm.
and other counterparts, we want to give our black brothers and our brown brothers, we want to give them the harsher and oftentimes the wrong
Right.
diagnosis, therefore giving them the wrong medicines, which triggers the wrong side of the brain and all these other things. So talk to me about why you're so passionate and why is it imperative for us to reach black men, to let them know and let us know that we are all right. That yes, we've had some trauma, but we can overcome this trauma and we can have and normal is very relative as well, but we can have, let me say it this way, healthy and productive lives.
I'm glad you brought that question up, Marty. It's very starts with what you said. We have to understand sometimes we as black men are misunderstood, misquoted,
Yes.
misrepresented. And I think sometimes when we as men go into these arenas and spaces to say, hey, I need some help, we sometimes got to look at it from the person that's actually completing the assessment. Are they culturally aware
Yes.
of the environment in which the man is coming into your space? Do we have the skill sets and the ability to see things from their viewpoint versus the world's view? As they teach us in psychology, understanding different
Right.
viewpoints, and then I just also think that sometimes we come into the spaces defensive. We come into those spaces not being comfortable and not being welcome, and sometimes we come into those environments not being heard. So sometimes when we sit in those spaces as a client, as I am
Yes.
role playing, I'm sitting in a space and I'm uncomfortable because I don't want to say
Yes.
to someone that may not understand my walks of life, my
Right.
story.
Right.
And I
Right.
think sometimes we
Right.
are misunderstood and we are misdiagnosed based off of what the perception is. Because we do know
Mm-hmm.
perception can become someone's reality, which is not fair, is
Yes.
not equitable, and is not appropriate.
Yes. Yes. No, I agree with you 100%. And don't you love it when you get to especially our black male clients and the it's almost like this sigh of relief like wow, someone who understands me, who feels my pain in that regards and I find it so um unearthing, if you will, that we are supposed to be a industry and a profession that's supposed to be non-biased. We're supposed to be non-opinionated. We're supposed to be welcoming. We're supposed to be accepting and really give from a pure perspective. What's the
Right.
word I'm looking for? Cultural competency. But we know that we can be the least competent culturally because we
Right.
only look at things from the lens from our cultural identity. And I think it can be not impossible, but difficult. And that's why more therapists and black male therapists and Hispanic male therapists, and I'm not saying we're the end all be all
Right.
by no means, but it can help level the negative playing field and rise the I always say this the stinking thinking and change our narrative about how we feel about therapy. For those of Thomas, why did you get into the field? What made you
So
so passionate about the mental health field?
honestly, it was a simple thing that I had a story. And I shared my story so many times. And for those who don't know my story was simple this. I was a young man who was going through the world of
Mm-hmm.
life that was told
Yeah.
from a cultural standpoint that we keep our feelings
Mm-hmm.
inside. Young boys don't cry. If you
Yes.
cry, you're
Yes.
soft. And I did not have those
Yeah.
healthy, and I wanted to
That's good.
emphasize healthy outlets. And so when I went to
Mm-hmm.
school, I went to college, and I was like, I don't want to do business. I don't want to do
Right.
finance. I don't want to do any accounting.
Right.
I'm not an engineer. I'm a talker. Although I have a
Right.
stutter, I am a talker. I am someone that you can communicate with, establish relationships with. So I dabbled and
Right.
dabbled in social work, and I didn't like social work.
Okay.
So I ended up centering myself in psychology. And that's something that I tell my
Love it.
black men. You got to center yourself and stick with it. And one of my hashtags
Yes.
that I use
Yes.
for my black brothers is stay the course. So I stayed the course in
Love it.
psychology and I love it. And I ventured off and I said, well, I want to become a
Yes.
master's level. So I became a master's
Yes.
levels psychologist, therapist. And then after I obtained
Yes.
my master's degree in psychology from the Bowie State University, Bowie,
The
Maryland,
Bowie State.
I ventured off and I became licensed. And
I
I
love
wanted
it.
people
I
to
love it.
understand this, and it was because of you, Marty, and you don't like it when I say it. You were one of the pioneers that told me don't allow your imperfections, which I thought that I had, which was my speech impediment, to keep me from telling my story. And I have become more comfortable with who I am. I don't
Wow.
care if you like it,
Wow.
don't care if you hate it.
Right.
Someone is going to get something from this. And that's for a
That's
brother
right.
that's listening. Stop putting yourself in the box and live outside the box, which is why I called my organization and business Limitless, because we got to start thinking
Right.
limitless and stop restricting ourselves.
I love that, Thomas, because we got to look at also the perspective. Because even whether we think inside the box or think outside the box, everything is about perspective and
Right.
what we how we interpret that perspective. Because we always say that get out of the box thinking. But I was
Hmm.
challenged today in our leadership meeting today with our leaders, and John Henry Scott did it this way. He says, "Well, I'm going to challenge you. What's in your box that you are not using, that you have overlooked? What are the resources that you have available to you that you can now change the trajectory? You can change the negative
Mm.
narrative, that you have the power to change the scope of your own life based upon the skills that you possess and the resources, no matter how limited they might be, limit, even though they're limited, you can make them limitless." Come on, I'm saying a
Mm.
word, and ain't nobody saying
Hmm.
nothing to me online or in the room. But I can, yes, but I can make them limitless because
Right.
I'm not allowing my mind to be boxed in to your definition of what success and professionalism and healthy looks like, because I get to determine that and not you.
You are the master of your faith, and you are the master of your soul.
Yes, yes. So let's talk about this, because what we don't talk enough about in our community. September is National Suicide Prevention and Awareness Month. When we're talking about suicide, from what you have talked about, and suicide ideation. Now, if we're being honest, I know you've had some black men who've, and I want to be clear, because we all get depressed at times. And there have been times that we have said, Lord, if you could just take me out of here. That's not an
Hmm.
ideation. That's just an emotional feel that we
Mm-mm.
snap right back out of it.
It's a
Because if
thought.
we're honest,
Right.
all of us have had that thought. I know
Right.
I've had that thought before, and not that I wanted to kill myself, but just like, you know what? Lord, if you want to just go ahead and take me
Help me,
away
Lord.
and deal with, yeah, help me, Lord. We've all had
Right.
those type of thoughts before, and
Right.
that's not necessary. I think at some point in time, it's a healthy thought, because even if we look biblically, David in the Bible was like that as well. And we know
Right.
that Lord, I don't want spiritual. I'm trying to say that, keep this, but we know that David was, the Bible says, a man after God's own heart, in that regard. So talk to us about your feelings and your perception about suicide, suicide ideation, and suicide in black men. I know that was a mouthful.
Yeah. So before I go into that, I want to start off with what suicide is, right? Because sometimes
Yes.
people, we don't like to have this conversation. But since you got me on the
Yes.
East Coast at 10:23 p.m., let's have a
God bless
conversation.
you.
So
Yes.
suicide is when suicide is when a person harmed
Yes.
themselves with the intent of ending the life, and they eventually
Yes.
die as a result. But the
Yes.
suicide attempt is when they have a plan and they attempt to harm themselves with the
Ooh.
indication of this of wanting to end their lives, but they don't die.
Yes.
So there, so
Yes.
that is a difference. Suicide is when you
Yes.
actually die. Suicide attempt is when you have a plan and you put it into place, but the actual end result don't happen. And that is the difference
Yes.
between suicide and suicide attempt. Suicide ideations is when you're having thoughts because you are putting this in your mind that I want to die. And you begin to have those suicidal thoughts to where your mind is racing and you want to do it, and you put that suicide attempt into place to try to,
Yes.
die. But those are the
Yes.
differences. And when we
Yes.
have these conversations, Marty, I think it is very
Yes.
important for us as health professionals to listen
Mm-hmm.
to their story without
Yes.
judgment, without
That
criticism,
part.
and let that
That
brother
part.
know that your life matters to me. And they
That
may
part.
tell you,
Yes.
well, my life don't matter to me, but guess what? You matter to me. How often do a black
Yes.
man hear that you matter?
Come on, say that again
How
for those in the
often,
back row who.
how,
Yes.
how often do a black male hear, I love you? How
Yes.
often
Yes.
do black
Talk
men,
to us,
period,
Thomas.
hear someone say to them, yes, I know that you made a mistake. Yes, I know that you hurt your girlfriend. Yes, I know that you hurt your partner. Yes, I know that you were hurt in the church. But guess what? you still have an opportunity to be better
To get it
than the day
right.
before.
Yes.
But they hear the opposite. They hear the shade.
You're no
They hear
good.
the ice, and they begin to isolate themselves. They begin to feel like
Yes.
that they are a burden to others. They feel like that they have
Yes.
nothing to live for, which connects what? To the suicide ideations, to the suicide attempts, and it ends with someone trying to eventually commit suicide. So I hope this has
Yes.
helped someone tonight. Brothers,
I love it.
ladies,
I love
stop
it.
beating us up. Tell them that it's okay. It's okay to be okay.
That's good. That's good. Yes, yeah, that's so good because a lot of it. Now we look at suicide and suicide ideation. If we look at that and go deeper than that, it flows out of depression. It flows out of
Mm-hmm.
not feeling having any value.
Mm-hmm.
It flows out of
Right.
it feels like the world is against me. It flows from not being a part of a system, whether that's a family system, a work system, a spiritual system, a friendship system that is supportive or feels supportive. And after a
Mm.
while, you can only get beat down so much
So
and for
much.
so long until you feel like, well, hell, no, I must be wrong. Then I'm the problem.
Right.
Even if you're, and I love what you said there too, even though I might have suicide ideation, and that
Right.
may not that's not having the plan itself.
Right.
As long as one of the most important things I had to learn how to do, especially when I was new in my career with this, I wasn't always comfortable with keeping the person talking, or I felt
Right.
like I had to have all the right answers, or I felt
Right.
like I needed to ask all the right questions.
Right.
And
Right.
sometimes what I learned to discover, Thomas, that sometimes my very presence all by itself was enough.
You said something, and I'm going to stay there for a second. Sometimes
Yes.
I say to my therapist when I have supervisions with them, sometimes less is best.
Mm.
Sometimes just sitting there smiling because they are already coming
Yes.
into your office with burdens. They are already coming
Yes.
into their office with weight. WEIGHT. And sometimes you gotta just sit there and just say, we're
Yes.
gonna take a moment and we're gonna just relax and let's just do some breathing. And
Yes.
Marty, and something that I have done with working with individuals who are suicidal, sometimes you got to do what we
Yes.
call cognitive distortions and cognitive
Oh, come on.
distractions. Take their
Come
mind
on.
off of what they are presenting to you that they want to do and say, "Well, how was your day? What you eat for lunch today?
Yes.
Man, I like those
Yes.
shoes. Where you get those shoes from?" And in that
Yes.
moment, it gives them a 2 to 3 minute break
Sense
of
of
their
hope. Yeah,
mind
I
from
love
wanting
it.
to hurt
Yes.
themselves. Because why? I have
Yes.
tapped into something that you have overlooked.
Yes.
Sometimes we
Yes.
overlook the small things to focus on the big things. And so when we are
That's so
focusing
good.
and we are dealing with brothers or people or black men who have those suicidal ideations, the first thing is we still take those things seriously. And in the back of
Yes.
our mind, we
Yes.
know that they have said in your office and they said, "This is my plan." You're keeping that plan
Yes.
in mind, but you're building up hope. You're building up encouragement. You're building up the resiliency that they have lost along the way. And
Yes.
we got to
Yes.
learn how to start having these open conversations because brothers sit on our lives in our face and they are having those thoughts,
Yes.
but we think everything is
Yes.
okay.
Yes. And I love that, Thomas, because you talked about this, and you don't have to be a clinician to ask these type of
Right.
questions. If
Right.
you were my client, and let's go back and forth. Let's do a little. We don't ever role play if we're doing
Yeah, let's
that.
role
Uh, uh,
play.
let's role play. Let's role play. With that, and then whatever I miss, come on and correct. But I would say,
Okay.
Thomas. So how long have you been having these suicidal thoughts, and what are your thoughts about that?
So, I just feel like no one loves me. I was in a
Mm,
relationship, and the person that I thought loved me just came
right.
to me and
Right.
said, "This is not working." I gave up my
Wow.
family. I made a decision to
Sure.
walk away from my parents because I love this
Right.
person, and now this person is
Wow.
gone. So what do I have to live for? Why am I here?
Wow.
Why am
I
I
know
even
that must
talking
be
to you?
hard.
It's
Well, can I
you
say
don't
I'm
understand it.
glad you're talking to us. I don't understand your, but I can be empathetic to what you're doing. I know what pain feels like, especially when you put out love and that. So Thomas, can I ask you this? Because I heard what you have to say. And again, my heart goes out for you. And I really feel I'm very empathetic towards you. Do you have a specific plan?
Yes. When I leave here, it's over.
Yes. Okay.
I'm
So,
done.
so may I ask
I just wanted to
what
come and tell
exactly?
you that I'm done.
Okay. Okay. So what is your plan exactly?
Well, I'm thinking about just walking out, and if I don't get hit in the crosswalk, I may just go home and just take a couple of pills and just go to sleep and drink.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Because you
Mm-hmm.
don't
So
understand my
Thomas,
story as a man.
wow,
No one
wow,
gets me.
wow, wow. That has to be a difficult spot to live in and to be feeling like no one hears you or no one really understands what you're going through. And here's what I would love to do. Is there anyone that you can talk to who could be with you? Is there a brother or anyone like that might be empathetic to what you're going through? Because I think you have lots to live for and you have this amazing big heart. And we got to
No,
stop
because
right
I
there
turned away
because
from everybody.
right. but what I want to make clear, I asked for a plan. I asked for what were you going to do? How were you going to do it? When were you going to do it? All those things. So don't be afraid to ask the who, what, why, where, when, and how type of questions in that regard. Let's flip it, Thomas, and you be the therapist. So we
Can
can
I
do this.
give you some
Go ahead.
feedback right quick? What I like
Yes,
that you
yes,
did, you remained in the conversation. You kept the even
sure.
tone. You showed empathy, and your emotion
Mm,
was very constant. And I think
mm.
sometimes when clinicians hear something, we get nervous and we get jittery. But you stayed the course. You was right there with me. You assured me that
Wow.
things were going to be okay, and you asked those specific questions. So in the event when I said that I didn't have no one, then you definitely knew that it was time to call 988. So good job.
Yeah, yeah. Well, thank you. We would definitely do that, and it would, and in that regards, and it doesn't hurt. Listen, calling 988 or 911. Listen, our job is not we to be the investigators behind that. We say, hey, and in that type of situation, I would say, Thomas, remember
Right.
when say I want to be 100% transparent with you. And remember when I talked about this informed consent and that everything we talked about was confidential 100%. However, I also want to remind you that I said and that we both agreed upon, and you said yes, that if ever I had to break confidentiality because you were going to do harm to yourself or harm to someone else, that I would let you know. This is that
Mandated
time.
reporting.
So mandated report. So what I'm going to do, and I promise you that I would never do anything behind your back. I tell my clients this all the time because guess what?
Right.
Even in my reporting, I might get it wrong. So I want you to hear everything I'm going to say. And
Right.
I promise you, if I say something wrong, correct me. And Thomas, do you
Right.
believe that helped a lot of my clients right there? Because I'm trying to validate that I hear them. I'm validating. Listen, I want to be there for you and with you.
And
All of
what you
that.
also is doing, Marta, is very key. Sometimes it's helping professionals, i.e., therapists. We should always revisit that consent form. We should always go
Yes.
over what mandated reporting looks like, and more
Yes.
specifically, before you do the mandated reporting, you should always give them a refresher of what their rights are, because
That's right.
clients have rights.
They do. They
I'm
do.
gonna just leave
Because I
that there.
Yeah, because I don't want to shock them. They're already depressed and they're already talking about suicide. So I need to ease my way. I need to remind, and this is what I try to do. Remember when we both agreed, because I don't want to say that I'm forcing this. We had a partnership, and I want to hold my end of the bargain because I care about you. I know you may not feel that way right now. You may feel like everyone is against you, but I want you to know I do care about you as a person, as my client, and we have a relationship. So I want to uphold. Everyone else may have failed you, but I want to uphold my end of our relationship in a healthy and professional manner.
Marty, I think something that I use in my sessions with brothers now, and I have
Mm-hmm.
them say this with me before we end session,
Okay.
and it's three phrases:
Uh-huh.
"You matter, I
Uh-huh.
matter, we
Uh-huh.
matter together."
That's good, Thomas.
You
What has
matter,
been the impact? Yeah,
I
you matter,
matter,
I
we
matter,
matter together.
we matter together. What has been the impact that you have seen by ending the session just like that?
It happened today, and
Mm.
this was a newer client, and the client had tears, and actually,
Right.
if I'm
Wow.
transparent, once the client left, I had to
Yes.
go in my office to close the door and kind of like get myself
Right,
together,
right, right.
because that person said no one has ever told them in the last two
Wow.
years that they was even of
Wow.
substance.
Okay, so I don't want to bypass that. So your client said no. Sorry, I thought a bug was climbing on me or something. So my house is clean. Don't even go there. It was a piece of string. Uh-huh. So but I don't want to lightly negate the fact. But that's so many stories of the young people and the men that, and I'm emphasizing men. I had a client just on the other evening. I was talking to Thomas, and I'm glad you said that. And he was just frustrated. I'm like, dog. I said, dude, you my boy, and that, and we can talk that language. We're not road dogs or nothing like that. But listen. We got a relationship. We've been dealing with this same issue, if you will, for a year now, and I see great
Mm-hmm.
progress in you.
Mm-hmm.
So listen, dude, what brought you back to feeling that way? He goes, because no one cares. I'm like, wow. Wow. He goes, I'm so used to being a provider and I'm so used to being a protector, but I don't get acknowledged for that. So I'm just tired. And that's one of the things that a lot of people who are dealing with suicide ideation say. What are some of the common signs that we need to look out for? So we gave signs on how to have the conversations, but what does suicide ideation and suicide attempt, what does it look like, especially for Black young men? And I'm saying young men because it goes down, unfortunately, to the youngest even age of 10. I can't see what at age 10 you want to do to end your life. But what's some of the signs that you have seen that you would like to make our audience aware of?
The first thing is when we look at our young black boys, right? Let's think about our young black boys in the inner city. What do they see
Uh-huh.
a lot of? What do they witness a lot of? Start with the word T. I mean, with the letter T, trauma. If they
Yes.
experience traumatic events where they witness someone that is special or loved ones to them that are near and dear to them, and they are gone away from them, they feel hopeless. My mother was shot in front of me. Why do I still have to
Wow.
stay here?
Wow.
So we don't never want
Right,
to
right, right.
correlate traumatic events to
Yeah.
suicide, but we got to look at it
Right.
from the lens of the culturally
Come on.
relevant environment.
Yes.
The
Yes.
caregiver that protected them is no longer here. So now I have to stay
Yes.
with someone that may not protect me the way that my mom or my father or my granny or my
Right.
papa did. I'm in an environment where I don't feel safe. So we got to
Yeah.
understand those environmental factors first. The second thing that we got to
Yes.
understand is if you see someone that have extreme mood swings, they up one
Come on.
minute, they
That part.
down one minute. That's the main thing. Isolation, not taking care
Yes.
of your body, and I mean
Yes.
body physical with
Yes.
our bathing, our
Yes.
spiritual with our emotions,
Yes.
our
Yes.
eating habits, if we are eating less or
Yes.
eating more. You got to look at all of those signs because all of those are warning signs that something is not right. Someone is always
Yeah.
talking about feeling guilty. Go ahead.
Yeah. No, I was saying you were talking about the eating, and I want to jump in there because
Okay.
my client who had completed a suicide, one of the things he would do, he says, Marty, I don't feel I have any control over my life. So he would not eat. I
Mm-hmm.
mean, he would go, I'd be like, when I see him, like, when's the last time you eaten? He goes, I can't even remember. Maybe
Right.
5 days ago. And I'm like, oh no, we're going up here and getting us a chicken bowl from that's the only thing I could get him finally to eat from KFC. And to
Right.
see a 16-year-old boy who could not complete only could stomach a third of a chicken bowl.
Mm-hmm.
That's at that age they eat like German tanks. You can't give them enough to fill them up.
Right.
In that regards, but I love that isolation, the eating. I also love the mood swings because a lot of times we use anger is a huge sign of depression for black men and brown
Mm-hmm.
men. Mood swings, being
Mm-hmm.
defiant, easily irritated, frustrated,
Right.
snapping, and we got to stop saying what's wrong with you because that's very judgmental.
Right.
You're not
Right.
gonna say,
Right.
"Hey, Thomas, you don't seem like yourself. What's going
Right.
on?
Right.
What's bothering you? Not what's wrong with you, because that's so you're just not yourself. Hey,
Right.
what's kind of going on? How can I
Right.
support you? You want to talk
Right.
about it? Something like that.
Right.
I did that when I was in Pennsylvania this last time, and then I saw this young man, and he was just holding on, and I saw him from across the room and said, something's bothering, and I just sat there for about 30 minutes with him. I said, I know something's going on. It's all over you. You are not yourself. I said, but I don't want you to hurt yourself or hurt
Mm-hmm.
someone else because you
Mm-hmm.
think the weight of the world sits right here. And brother, you're not too heavy. I'm going to help
Marty,
you out.
you said something that's very key to our listening audience. When individuals feel isolated, what you
Hmm.
just said is very key for us as therapists, as emergency contact plans. Sometimes just
Right.
sitting there with them is keeping them what? A, safe. You encouraging
Yes.
them, but you also are
Yes.
being there with them so they aren't feeling what?
Yes.
Isolated. Sometimes our presence,
Yes.
our aura, our
Yes.
energy, our
Yes.
just who we are is what people need.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I agree. I agree. I agree. And then for our school age kids having trouble with school, not doing the homework, a big thing, giving stuff away, especially stuff that they love, 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 love. If you just like, wait a minute, they're giving everything away, or
And
the
you know what
phone
else
call.
is right? And you know what else is very key with our youth and young adults? They utilize a lot of social media.
Wow.
So when they making
Yes.
social media posts about erratic things or
Yes.
leaving the
Yes.
world or losing, I ain't
Yes.
got this left in me. Parents, and I'm zooming into the camera.
Yes.
Pay
Yes.
attention to your youth.
That's right. That's good.
I utilize a lot of the book by Danny Ross, The Messages That We Carry. And how I utilize the messages that we carry. Danny
Shout
Ross,
out to Danny.
I am not taking away from your workbook, but I utilize
Oh,
those messages that men
yes.
carry to help them
Yes.
understand that they don't have to be
Yes.
the message that they've been carrying.
That's right. That's right. Well, that was the whole premise of the book.
Right,
That's the whole premise of
right,
the book. So you're
right.
you're you're saying all the right things with that, and not having interest, or when you get these phone calls, these random calls, you're like, "Hey, Thomas, you've been a real great friend. I just want to thank you, man, for everything you've done for me. Because I wouldn't be, or telling your parents or something. You get a call from your kids, like,
Mm-hmm,
hey, I know I
mm-hmm.
wasn't the best kid, and you were so great, and I didn't respect you, and I just want to say I just love, 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 love. You're like, wait a minute, there's something's going on. Look for the signs. Look for major changes in behavior, mood,
Yes,
attitude,
yes,
eating. If
yes,
something changes, that's a cry
yes,
for help. It's
yes,
a cry for
yes,
help. And oftentimes, I believe that men and young boys, they want someone to say, "Hey, this is not your pattern." They want to know who's going to be brave enough to step up and disrupt their negative pattern and say,
right.
no, 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 no. If we got to stay here all night, let's go to Costco and get some hot dogs, or get a drink, go to get a Slurpee at the 7-Eleven because they don't ever close AM PM, whatever we got to do, and let's
But you know
talk it
what, though,
out.
Marty? You know what, Marty? I know this is your show and this is your program, but
Just stop it, stop it.
one of the things that I learned about this thing called therapy in life.
Yeah. Yeah.
Men that come into our office sometimes have to sit in the client seat, and we, as the helping professionals, have to say, there were some times that I just didn't have it in me. And be okay
Yes.
with being
Yes.
transparent, but then
Yes.
reason. We also
Yes.
got to understand that I connect and I attach myself to like-minded people, which is why you and
Hmm.
I guess, get along for the most part, because we are full of energy and we have like-minded energy, and we want to see people grow and we want to see people be
Yes.
successful. If I
Yes.
can't tell you as a therapist, once upon a time I had a bad day,
Yeah.
I'm not
Yeah.
doing my job. I'm not.
That's good. I agree.
I'm not. I'm not.
I agree, and I think that transparency, because a lot of times they think that because we sit in the seat of a therapist or a professional, that we've never had any challenges or crises that we've gone through, and that's not the case. A lot of times we're in that chair because we have successfully overcome a challenge. We've
That
successfully
part.
or we still could be overcoming a challenge. And we want to say, listen, this is where we have been, and this is where I'm at, but this is where I'm heading,
Mm,
and share
mm.
those things as well. Yeah,
I
yeah,
like that. I like
yeah.
that. And one of the things that I am proud about is next month I'm doing the season opener of Move Mountains, and the opening show is going to be focusing on pouring from an empty cup. And it's not
Nice.
for the viewers, it's for people to understand. Even me, as a helper professional, I had
Yes,
to go back and refill myself, because once upon a time
yes,
my cup was empty, but I didn't allow my
yes.
cup to stay empty. I had to fill it up with love, with communication, with
Come
increasing my
on.
support system, with reaching out to you,
Yes.
Marty, and saying, I remember that time I called you, and I remember telling you, hey, I don't know about this. I
Right,
had to reach
right.
out and get what fills me up. And that's what brothers and whoever that is watching this show tonight or tomorrow or
That's
week after
right.
next, you have to get those things to refill you, because you are not the
That's
only one
right.
out here that have had empty moments. I've had it. Martin
Yes,
had it. The
yes,
Mac in the back
yes.
has had it. We all have had empty moments. But you got to do what?
Right.
Fill yourself back up.
Yes,
That's it.
and that's what we could call self care, because it's so important. And we have marketed self care wrong as being selfish instead of
Mm,
selfless. Because I
mm,
can't even begin to help someone else until I first help myself mentally, physically, and yet I dare say even spiritually. And too many of us are running on empty cups, faking the funk like we filling someone else up, and we need to be filled ourselves. But can I even say this? We need to go back and clean our cup inside and out, sterilize it, dry it off, and start all over. And there's
mm.
nothing wrong with that.
Nothing at
Nothing
all,
wrong
brother.
with that. Yes,
Nothing.
yes, yes.
And
And before we
suicide.
close, go ahead.
I was gonna
No,
say,
no.
one of the things that I do want to make sure, as many helper professionals are doing the month of suicide prevention and suicide awareness, understand this: that suicide thoughts, suicide ideations, the act
Mm-hmm.
of suicide varies and
Mm-hmm.
is different. What
Yes.
impacts one may not impact the other. What people feel, what they think, how they act, how they respond, the behaviors that they
Yes.
display, we have to take it for what we are seeing and do what the national
Yes.
and the CDC and NIH and all of these great organizations tell us to do. Ask questions. Why,
Yes.
what, and who? Why do you feel
Yes.
that you need to end your life? What is your
Yes.
plan? Who can we call to assist you? And do
That's
you
good.
mind
That's
if
good.
I make the call with you and stay with you?
That's
That's it.
good. That's good. Love it, man. That is so good.
And
Because a
Marty, I
lot of
ain't
times
told you
I
in a while, brother, but I love you too, good brother.
love you too, man. Of course. Always, always. Listen, you're going to get sick of me. Yes. I always say it like this, and here's my new thought on suicide and suicide ideation. It is when the pain gets so great that we think that our only way to end the pain is to end our lives.
Right.
I know I've been in pain before. Safety plan. Yes, yes. Jerron, thank you so much. It's so imperative that we have a safety plan because those thoughts just don't automatically go away. Let me say it again.
Mhm.
Those thoughts don't automatically go away. And it's imperative that we have a safety plan, an active safety plan, an up-to-date safety plan in place. And because we're dealing with depression, we're dealing with anxiety, we're dealing with post-traumatic stress, we're dealing with so many other things that's caused that and some of the factors, contributing factors, can be police brutality, it can be survivor's remorse, it can be
Right.
some of the other trauma that happens in our lives, it can be anything that triggers us.
Right.
And so we cannot, we have to take the shame out of
Right.
saying I'm hurting,
Right.
and
Marty,
make sure we have these things. Of course, go
if I
ahead.
can say one thing, so I like what I do now is I drop stats because we as
Hmm.
people, when we
Hmm.
see numbers, when we see things, we're like,
Right.
huh. So did you
Yeah.
know, according to the CDC in 2022, that there was a total of 3,825 men who are Black
Yes.
African American
Black
that
men.
committed
Yes.
suicide?
Committed suicide, and these
Did
are who
our
had
list
completed it.
right? And do our listening audience know that that is a 3.2 increase since
Yes. There we
2021?
go.
We are now
There we
in
go.
2023, and we're
23.
seeing
Yes.
people committing suicide. So, brothers, what is that telling us? I'm talking to you out here. What is that telling us?
That's
We
right.
need to talk. We need to talk it out.
Yes.
As Jerron Clark said, we need a safety plan. We need some accountability partners. We need all of
Yes.
the village to accomplish that, brother, to let them know
Yes.
that their life matters. I'm sorry, Martin. I shut up.
No, no, no. You're absolutely right. And then the other thing we got to look at the highest growth demographic within Black men is that 24 to 55 age range as well,
Mm-hmm.
because that's the time frame we think we're supposed to have it all together. You don't have to have
Mm-hmm.
it all together physically, monetarily, financially, whatever. Just as long as you get your mind right and remind yourself this too can and shall pass, but I just got to hang on to another day. I got sometimes it's just enough to hang on for the next hour, hang on for the next minute, and we just take it step by step, moment by moment, day by day. Go ahead. I see you. I see you. Yes, we
Marty,
need to talk. That's absolutely right.
I struggle with this. I have my brothers do an assignment with me. And the one thing, the assignment that I asked them to do is to bring to me two people in their life that they either feel
Mm.
like they have never made a mistake and that are perfect.
Ha!
I asked them to name me two people that are perfect and that has never
Yeah,
made a mistake that you
can't
idolize
name
or that
two.
you have. I don't get those
Can't do it.
names. Because why?
Right.
No one is perfect. But we see the
Yes.
social media, we see the suits, we see the
Yes.
money, not knowing that they don't went out
Yes.
here and got 4 or 5 different loans and they can barely pay them back. We see the shoes that they got, not knowing that they rented, and if they get something on their shoes at the club, they ain't gonna get their money back. But we see the
Right.
image, but we don't know the
Yes, the
reality.
false narrative. That's right. That's right. That's right. Man, listen, Thomas, it is always let the people
It's
know
11 o'clock.
how they can get a hold. Well, 8 o'clock here. Yes. How do we follow up with you, man? Because you got you share some dope stuff, and how do they get a hold of Limitless Possibilities on U Street in the District of Columbia?
Marty, as always, brother, you are the only one that can get me at 2 minutes, and I will show up for you. But that's what,
Man,
and I'm saying that, brother, because this is connected to suicide awareness.
Hmm.
Those 2 minutes could have meant something to you. But if
Yeah.
I didn't show
Yeah.
up and I was selfish with wanting
Yeah.
to go to sleep, I would have regretted that. Imagine what would have
Yeah.
happened if you needed me and I wasn't there. But always know, brothers, always know women, people that are watching tonight, be there for that person. Not because I want you
Yes.
to follow limitless possibilities and the Mac in the back and put all my handles up. I want people to walk away from the show tonight understanding that we gotta stop, as Marty says, suffering in silence. We gotta speak up.
Yes.
We gotta be
Yes.
okay saying, I need somebody to be
Yes.
accountable with. I need to have
Yes.
someone that can hold me down. I need to know
Yes.
that I matter, you matter, and we
Yes.
matter together. Follow me on
That's
Limitless
right.
Possibilities. My website is www.limitlesspossibilitiesforyou.com. You can follow me on Instagram, which is Limitless Outcomes. You can stop by the office if you in the DMV at 1436 U Street, Suite 401. And I'm adding something different. Because it's
Okay.
Suicide Awareness Month, you can contact me directly at 240 200
What?
4066. You don't have to suffer alone
Say it
because
one more
I
time.
didn't. You can reach
That's
me on
right.
my cell phone at 240 200 4066. You do not, NOT, have to suffer alone because I didn't. I
Love
reached
it.
out,
Love
and
it.
so can you. Thank you, Marty. I love you,
Love it.
brother.
Man, love you too, man. Yes, Thomas gave us some wonderful information tonight, and we want to thank you for joining us for this very, very powerful discussion on suicide ideation here, especially when it comes to Black men. But we don't want to leave you with without any resources that you can contact, because this is a serious matter that we need to continue to have conversations about. So you can always text crises to 741-741. There's other resources like Psychology Today, Therapy for Black Men, Good Therapy, and marcelwc.com. marcelwc.com, or dial 988, which is the National Helpline if you have any questions. We don't want you to secretly suffer in silence in anything that you do. Suicide is a serious thing that we have to have conversations about. Don't be afraid to have the conversation. Ask the who, what, why, where, when, and how. Don't be afraid. Tell them that you love them. Tell them they have so much to live for, and be there. Because in this journey called life, too many of us are secretly suffering in silence, in the shadow of shame, because we have to stop the stinking thinking. How do we do that? We got to speak up. We got to speak out. But more importantly, we got to live and enjoy your life. See you next week. Take care and God bless.